hot and y'all been standing up. Thanks for your patience, but I just want to, it's hard at times like these because folks are just so, get discouraged, and in fact people stop me all the time on the street and say like, are you okay? And listen, I'm more than okay. I'm doing great, and I work for an organization that is absolutely kicking ass and taking names every single day in America. It's okay. I think it's important, but it's important sometimes because history doesn't just like progress. It kind of goes back and then it goes forward and then it goes back. But when we started 100 years ago, this is our 100th anniversary of Planned Parenthood, right? Everything was illegal. Everything for women, right? Birth control was illegal. Abortion was illegal. Women couldn't do anything. And what started as this tiny storefront with Margaret Sanger and her sister Ethel and Thanya Mandel, a volunteer, they illegally opened up a storefront, started handing out birth control pamphlets for 10 cents a piece. From day one, there were women lined up down the block. And the photos of that era are incredible. These women in long dresses, pushing these big, those old-fashioned strollers with babies in their arms, desperate to find out how to prevent an unintended pregnancy. And as the story goes, an undercover cop posing as a mom busts Margaret 10 days into this adventure, throws her into jail, where she teaches all of her fellow inmates about birth control. And a movement was born, right? And we've been doing it ever since. And so sometimes people say, God, it seems Planned Parenthood's controversial. It's like, of course we're controversial. The whole idea has been to push the envelope forward for women. Today, not only is birth control legal, it's covered for 55 million women under the Affordable Care Act, and by God, we're not going to get out of it, right? And the other thing that matters, and it's so funny, I mean, I've been fighting up there in Congress on these insane ideas that we're going to get rid of the Affordable Care Act and get rid of Planned Parenthood. This is the thing that really matters, too. It's not just that these are benefits that women have now. We're actually, do you know this? We're at a historic all-time low for teenage pregnancy in the United States of America. And that's we're at a 30-year low, actually, for unintended pregnancy in general, and we're actually at the lowest rate of abortion since the Roe versus Wade decision was decided. So, healthcare works, and we're getting the hands of people that need it. It works. And we're actually the largest sex educator in the country. Yeah, so let's give it up for sex education here in Tennessee and the amazing work that we provide. So, I mean, these are tough times, but we are making enormous progress, and we just cannot give an inch. But it's been incredible. From the minute that 45 was inaugurated and this Congress came to Washington, they have had a target on Planned Parenthood and a target on women every single day, but we have fought them back every single moment of every single day. So, I don't know how many of you guys went to the march in Washington. 4 million plus people around the country marching. Did you march? Was it incredible? Changed our lives. And one of my favorite tweets that came out that day was a guy who tweeted, he said, I just went to Washington and marched with the future President of the United States of America. I don't know who she was, but she was there with me. There were marches around the corner, as someone said earlier, it wasn't just in Washington, D.C. or New York, it was in Nashville and Memphis and Knoxville and Chattanooga and Jonesboro. Every single continent, Alaska, you name it, Antarctica. And when the President and Paul Ryan said they were going to defund Planned Parenthood, we got to work and turned all that energy into the work of Congress. And no, here, Tennessee advocates did their work as well. I think you made Bob Corker's life utter hell, and thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. I mean, it's kind of incredible. Because people say to me, well, what happened after March? Well, what happened is people started calling Congress and going to town hall meetings and putting on their pink pussy hats and taking on senators. And it was everywhere, and it was incredible. And in fact, I don't know if you know this, but when they kind of looked at who was calling Congress, you know what the estimates are? 86% of the calls coming into Congress to support not only the Affordable Care Act and Planned Parenthood, 86% of those calls were coming from women. That's right, exactly. So now we get the men doing it too. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a revolution. I mean, I don't want to, I'm not going to give you the long, tedious story of this last 6 months of defeating this bill, but there was just an amazing moment I have to tell you really quickly. And so I'm in the U.S. Capitol. The news is, I mean, we're right on the brink of, they're going to defund Planned Parenthood. And what we hear is that the president has called the Freedom Caucus, unfortunately, many of whose members probably come from Tennessee, has called the Freedom Caucus over to the White House to negotiate the final, just the final details for repealing the Affordable Care Act, which included things like getting rid of maternity benefits for women and forcing women on Medicaid to go back to work after 2 months or lose their health care benefits for them and their children. That's the kind of things that they have on their mind. So I'm sitting there in the Capitol and thinking, oh my God, I wish I could get a picture of this room, because it's got to be all white men, negotiating away our rights. And when you know that Vice President Mike Pence tweets out a photograph right then saying, here we are, I couldn't have got a better photograph. So that picture, of course, went all around, all over, saying these are the folks who are taking away our rights. And then my favorite meme that was created, you may have seen it, was an Oval Office full of golden retrievers who were negotiating the end of feline care in America. That's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with in Washington, D.C. is folks who have no idea what women need, what they do. And I swear to God, and this day is coming, when we have more members of Congress that can get pregnant, we're going to quit fighting about Planned Parenthood. I don't think, it's so important because we're headed into now a lot of headwinds, right? On everything. On DACA. And can I say, this is one of the fights of our lifetime to support the dreamers, and I hope everybody who can and will is in this fight. But we're going to have some tough years ahead. But it's important to remember that this didn't happen by chance. We didn't defeat the efforts to repeal Obamacare and end access to Planned Parenthood by chance. And I want to call it two women, two Republican women, Lisa Murkowski from Alaska and Susan Collins from Maine. They put on their party and they never gave up. They never gave up. It's amazing. And you know why? They said it was because patients and providers in their states calling them, telling about the difference that Planned Parenthood made in their lives. So the work that you're doing is so critically important. And the reason it matters that we won that and that John McCain came flying in at the last minute to deliver the last, thank you, John McCain, that was awesome. But the reason why it matters, 55 million women still have access to birth control under their insurance plans at no cost, right? Millions of people on Medicaid still have the ability to go get care. We protected maternity benefits, and every single day that we stay open, approximately 8,118 patients in this country get care from Planned Parenthood. So you should take joy in the difference that we make. And that's what it's about. It's not about us. And people say, well, when is it going to end? It ain't never going to end. There's some women in this room that have been doing this fighting for 90 years, right? So this is not the time to get weary. This is the time to get serious. Because it's not about a lot of us. It's about our sons and our daughters and generations of people that are counting on us. Just like we counted on women who came before us, like my mom and like many of your mothers, right? They did this fight when it was hard. So anyway, I think I'll just close with this. So it's interesting, and I know we can't talk about politics tonight, but can I say, I don't even know what the rules are, and my lawyer's not here, but I do think it's important, though, and I'll just close with this, because I think it's a reminder to me of why we do this work. And I do say to folks, and I think I can say this, that, marching, that's great. Going to town hall meetings is great. Knitting pussy hats is great. Making offensive signs and holding them up is great. Certainly, calling your members of Congress, it makes all the difference. But voting? That's it. It's essential. So, if all we do all this work, and we don't bring it back around, to actually make our voice have impact on election day, we haven't finished the job. So just remember that. And so I'll close with this last story. So as I said, I come from Texas, which is a really hellacious place for women right now. But during the election of President Obama, the re-election, I don't know if you remember, but when President Obama was going up for re-election, it was looking a little dicey. It's hard to remember now, but for those of us who were working on that campaign, he and Mitt Romney were really kind of neck and neck, and he went into this second debate, and I happened to be there. I was back in a green room where we're not watching the debate, and right off the bat, President Obama says, well, I just want to say one thing, which is I support Planned Parenthood, and Governor Romney says he wants to get rid of Planned Parenthood, so that's a big difference between the two of us. I was like, whoa, wow. Like 70 million viewers, that's pretty great. And then he said it 3 more times. Not that I was counting, but I was counting. And he talked about the life-saving work that we did and how important it was for women to be able to go to Planned Parenthood for care. And it's interesting because after that debate, you know, he really sort of took off. And then, of course, he was reelected with the largest gender gap in the history of presidential politics. So that was a good thing. That was a good thing. But here's why it really matters. A couple of days after the debate, a woman came into our health center in Houston on the Gulf Coast Freeway because she found a lump in her breast and she didn't have a doctor and hadn't been to see a physician in many years. And so the clinician said, well, we can take you right away. This is really important. We'll get you looked after. I'm glad you found us, but can I ask who referred you to Planned Parenthood? And the woman looks at her and she said, well, I heard President Obama say on TV the other night that you do breast exams, and that's why I'm here. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here. Whether it's a young person in Tennessee, in Nashville or Memphis, or somewhere who needs somebody to talk to, whether it's about birth control or an unintended pregnancy or HIV prevention, that's why we're here. And so the work that you do every day, the support that you give to these extraordinary staff who face picket lines and hostility and go in every morning and open up these clinics, that's why we're here. And so thank you. It's a privilege of a lifetime to work for this organization and to do this work with all of you. Thank you.